Think about it. We ask them to draft our emails, help us plan vacations, even tackle our most sensitive work. AI assistants, well, they've become our trusted digital co-pilots, right? They're smart, they're helpful, and they're just part of everything we do now. We trust them with our data to make our lives easier. But what if that trust is a little misplaced?
Okay, let's really get into this. Because behind that friendly, helpful interface, there's a potential vulnerability that most of us never think about. What if the very thing that makes your AI so smart is also what makes it a potential data leak? What if, without anyone even knowing, your AI could be tricked into revealing its most sensitive memories, including yours? So, to really get a handle on this risk, we've got to look at how these large language models, or LLMs, actually learn. It all comes down to their memory. See, an AI's ability to recall information is what makes it so powerful, but that same perfect photographic recall can also become its greatest weakness. Now, when we talk about data leakage with AI, we're not talking about your typical hack, where someone breaks into a server. No, this is different. This is about the model itself accidentally spitting out sensitive information it learned during its training. And that could be anything, from your personal details to a company's biggest trade secrets. And believe me, the stakes here are incredibly high. We're talking about protecting personally identifiable information, PII. You've probably heard of it. For businesses, it's about locking down their secret sauce and staying on the right side of really strict regulations like GDPR and HIPAA, where a mistake can cost millions. But maybe most importantly, it's about all of us being able to trust these systems.
So how does this leakage even happen? Well, think of it like two kinds of students. A really well-trained model is the good student. It generalizes. It learns the core concepts from the textbook so it can answer new questions it's never seen before. But a vulnerable model, that one's the cramming student. It just memorizes the exact answers to the practice questions. In the AI world, we call this overfitting. And that memorization, that is the crack in the armor.
And that crack in the armor? Yeah, that's exactly what attackers are looking to exploit. They've come up with a really specific kind of threat that's designed to do one thing: interrogate the AI's memory. This is where we meet the villain of our story, the inference attack.
So what is an inference attack? Honestly, you can think of it as some seriously clever digital detective work. An attacker doesn't need to hack into the AI's code. Nope. Instead, they just carefully analyze what the model says, its outputs, to piece together or infer the secret information it was trained on. They're basically reverse engineering the AI's memory just by talking to it.
One of the most common ways they do this is with something called a membership inference attack. It works a little something like this. An attacker just starts asking the model questions over and over again. With each answer, the model also produces a confidence score. Now, remember our cramming student? A model is always way more confident about the answers it memorized word for word. So, if an answer comes back with a ridiculously high confidence score, that is a huge red flag. It tells the attacker that the model didn't just learn from that data, it memorized it. The model's own confidence is betraying its secrets.
And that right there gets to the heart of the problem. A model doesn't need to be broken or buggy to be at risk. Its normal, everyday outputs contain these tiny clues. An attacker can use these clues to figure out if, say, your specific sensitive health record was used to train a medical AI. Just finding that out is a massive violation of privacy.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty scary, right? But the good news is the fight is far from over. Security experts are developing some really sophisticated defenses to protect the AI's mind from these kinds of attacks. This isn't about building a firewall around it, it's about making the AI's memory safer from the inside out. The big strategy here is known as data leakage prevention, or DLP. And this isn't just one tool, it's a whole collection of techniques designed to protect data at every single stage. The main goal is to let the AI learn the important concepts without it memorizing all the dangerous, sensitive details. So what's actually in this defensive toolkit? Well, first up, you've got data redaction. Just think of it like taking a big black marker to names and social security numbers before the AI ever sees the document. Then there's data masking, which swaps real data for realistic sounding but totally fake placeholders. Anonymization takes it a step further, stripping out anything that could possibly identify a person. And finally, of course, there's encryption, which just scrambles the data so only the right systems can read it. Each one is a really critical layer of defense.
But here's the thing. Having the tools isn't enough. They need to be part of a bigger game plan. That starts with data classification. You've got to know what information is sensitive in the first place. Then you need strong access control, making sure only the right people and systems can even get near that data. And finally, you have data monitoring,
which keeps a constant watch for any weird activity, helping to spot a potential attack as it's happening. And all of this brings us to where we are right now, because this isn't a problem that you just solve once and then forget about. What's really happening is a dynamic, ongoing battle, a constant back and forth between those trying to protect data and those trying to steal it.
What we're seeing is a full-blown AI security arms race. For sure, just as the defenders are building AI-powered systems to predict and stop attacks, the bad guys are using AI to create smarter threats. You know, things like AI-generated phishing emails that are almost impossible to spot, or malware that can change its own code to avoid being caught.
And you can see just how fast this whole landscape is changing. In the past, security was all about being reactive, waiting for a threat and then finding a fix. Today, AI lets us be proactive, predicting threats before they even launch. But as we look ahead, we see emerging threats like those deepfake scams becoming more common. And we're already preparing for the next big frontier, building encryption that's strong enough to stand up to quantum computers.
Which leaves us with a really big, critical question to think about. As these incredibly powerful AI models get woven deeper and deeper into our hospitals, our banks, and our homes, who's ultimately responsible for keeping their memories safe? Is it the companies building them, the governments that regulate them, or, when you get right down to it, is it all of us, the users who feed them the very data that gives them life?